My first apartment deal was a 20-unit deal in the beautiful city of Birmingham, Alabama. And I learned so many lessons on this deal. I don't get emotional about any deal, but this one actually was a little, there's emotion to it. It's because it was my least profitable deal, but it sparked into, it's what got me into all these other bigger deals that I now do today, right? So 20-unit deal, Birmingham, Alabama. So how I found that deal first is from a direct mail campaign. So I started doing these direct mail campaigns in the Birmingham area. I had this owner call me and, ran the numbers, went out and looked at the property, and the property worked. I got it all in for $339,000, which is crazy, right? 20-unit deal, $339,000. It was 15% down payment, which equated to $50,000, and then the remainder came from a hard money loan at 9%. What's interesting about that is that was all me, right? That was all my money, all my risk. It was all me. And there's a reason there. It's because I was terrified to raise money, right? Terrified to raise money. I literally looked at raising money like I was some beggar asking for a handout. Like, please, dear God, please invest in this deal, right? So I didn't want to be that person. I hated asking for help. I grew up and we didn't have a ton of money. So sometimes we'd need to ask for help, and I was very grateful for that. I wanted to be on the other side of that. So raising money was a mental block for me. Now I'll talk about that lesson here in a second. This little 20-unit deal, great little deal. I bought in Birmingham, not because Birmingham was some emerging market, but I bought in Birmingham because Birmingham was cheap. It was cheap. I could buy an apartment in Birmingham, and logically in my mind I was like, okay, listen, if I can just get an apartment underneath my belt, if I can just get one underneath my belt, then I will feel way more comfortable going to investors. And it does help. Once you have a track record, it definitely helps. But that logic wasn't the best logic. So I'll tell you the lessons that I learned, okay? Number one lesson that I learned is that relationships are key in this business. This gentleman that I got the deal from, I want you to picture the most country bumpkin person you've ever met in your life, okay? This is him. I meet this guy, and I don't think that I'm gonna have any impact on his business past this property. He's not gonna have any impact on my business past this property. We're doing a transaction, shake hands, that's it. But I was also raised to treat people nice. My dad was a clinical social worker. I was raised hearing any and every example that you could think of. Don't judge a book by its cover, treat others how you would want to be treated, walk a mile in somebody else's shoes, perspective is your reality. If we were to talk bad about people growing up, and this is before child abuse was illegal, it was not tolerated. So I'm so grateful for that though, because it taught me to just treat people nice. And so that's all I did. I met this guy and I just treated him nicely. What I didn't know about this gentleman, he owned thousands of units throughout all of Alabama, was a multi-millionaire. He just did not care how he dressed. And you know what? He had earned that right. But I treated him nice, man. We built a good relationship, went to lunch even that day. And every time he would go to offload a property, he would call me first. And that's actually how I got established in the Birmingham market and the Alabama market, and how I started to grow a little bit of a portfolio there. So number one, relationships are key in this business. You never know who's gonna help you and open up doors for you. This business has this great human element to it. It makes you kind of, almost forces you to treat people nice, which is a beautiful thing, right? The world needs more of that. So number two, lesson learned number two is quality matters. Quality of the asset that you're buying, and also quality of the neighborhood that you're buying it in, and also quality of the metro area that you're buying it in. So Birmingham is the metro, the neighborhood, right, is a whole other ball game, and then the quality of the asset. This would be considered a C- asset. Once again, I was trying to do this with my own money, which I actually feel like so many people fall in that trap. They buy this investment because it's what they can afford. That's not how you buy an investment. You buy an investment because it makes logical sense, like logical investment sense. But too many people, we buy these things based on what we can afford, not on what makes most business sense. And that was the case here. So quality matters. If the asset is older and needs a lot of work, which this one did, yes, there's some value there. Yes, there's some opportunity there, but a lot of that cash flow is going to just continue to go in the property, right? It's going to be very hard to stay profitable and truly drive your equity positions up on that property, especially in a neighborhood where other seasoned investors don't want to buy. So it's harder to exit. Now, I did refi that property for I think it was like a year later for $465,000. I put about $100K in my pocket, and that was awesome. But exiting that property and truly being profitable on that property compared to these other properties that I was now acquiring was very hard. But still very grateful once again because it spurred me into everything else. So then number 3 is that fear throws logic out the window. Logically, I shouldn't have done this deal. And some of you will hear $100K and think that's awesome, but listen, I could have been making far more money on far better deals had I overcome my mental fear of raising money. Fear, though, throws logic out the window. I was just on Road to Hana this week. I was like 2 days ago. And Kenna, which is my brother's wife, one of my favorite sister-in-laws, hands down, no question. We're on this hike called Four Falls of Nahili, and there's this little jump that we have to jump off into the water. And what I didn't know about Kenna is that she's terrified of swimming and jumping off of cliffs, especially into water that she doesn't like to swim in. So we've all jumped off this thing, and Kenna's up there, and this fear is debilitating to her. She literally is about to try to climb down somewhere else. She's saying that she can't do it. She might just stay up there and die, and telling Michael, hey, make sure you take care of the kids. Kenna, it's true. Logic was out the window. It was out the window. That's what fear does, though, right? We have to remove the fear and focus on logic. And when I did that, when I truly removed that fear and focused on logic, my portfolio took off and I became far more profitable. And I'm going to tell you how I overcame the fear. First, you learn. That in my opinion is the fundamentals, or I would look at it as conditioning in sports, right? That's learning what you need to do, is getting your body into the peak physical state it needs to be in. Same with mentally. Learn, but too many people get stuck in learning. So number 2 is actually take action, man. Take action. Do you know what helped me overcome the fear of raising money? Raising money. Going and talking to investors and realizing that investors, man, need to place their money into investments. And when I first started this business, I didn't have a lot of money. In fact, I didn't have hardly any money. How I funded that down payment for my first apartment deal was through a credit card that had a 0 interest balance for a year. That's how I did that. I didn't have money, man. I had some credit and other resources. Being able to just go and take action quickly, start talking to investors and realize that they needed what we were offering them. It's the same thing with most things you're scared about, man. Take action and you'll realize that it's not as bad as we think it is. That's my 3 lessons learned in my first apartment deal. And damn it, I love that little 20-unit deal. Soft spot in my heart. When I sold that property, I didn't cry, but I damn near cried, okay? Love that thing.